just gonna start with a question right away. Can anyone tell me what are our inalienable rights under the US Constitution? Pursuit of happiness, huh? It's in the Constitution, that's pretty cool. I personally didn't really think about what is happiness when I was growing up. I didn't study it in school. No one really told me, what is it? Can I cultivate it? Actually, today, things are different. And the science of happiness is being studied at Harvard, at Yale, basically all the Ivy League institutions, even at schools. The kids are studying happiness. And what they're studying is the science of happiness. And the science of happiness is positive psychology. What we might have studied before is philosophy. Philosophy, like Plato, Aristotle, they were asking these questions. What is meaning? What is values? The main difference is that these were not topics that were empirically researched. There was no scientific backing. And so even though these were beautiful ideas and were really captivating people for centuries, they didn't hit universities and they didn't really make it mainstream because people thought they were just ideas and that you couldn't really test them. And then traditionally, psychology, which was empirically researched, really focused on the negative. You had Freud asking what's wrong with people, focusing on weakness, asking about dysfunction. But what about thriving? What about human flourishing? If you can see how many abstracts on anger, on depression, on anxiety, basically nobody was looking at joy and happiness until 2000 when the positive psychology movement really started. And what was that? You were at -5, you were depressed, you were anxious, and the entire concept of psychology was to get you to 0. Are you thriving? Are you living your best life when you're at 0? So positive psychology asks, how do we get you from 0 to +5? How do we really make you live your best life? The fundamental question of positive psychology, why do some people flourish despite difficult situations? This is about resilience. So for example, you have two people, Kelly and John. They both lost their job. Kelly is going out, building her resume. She's doing great. She's taking it as a chance for a new opportunity. A door is about to open. John is doing none of that. He doesn't really know what to do. He can't figure out the next steps. He's pretty down. Why? Is Kelly intrinsically an optimist? Or does she have certain skills, certain tools that are creating this resilience? Why is it that the same situation, the same set of circumstances is affecting two people in completely two different ways? Can anyone tell me which orange circle is larger? Most people, they would say that the right circle is larger. In fact, they are the same. What does that mean? That means that the same set of circumstances could have different perceptions. That's an optical illusion. An optical illusion makes you question what you think of reality. Try one more. Let's see if you know this one. What does that say? It says good. We have an optimist in the room. What else does it say? Evil. That's right. You see it? Good versus evil. How do you view your life? Is it good? Or do you view it negatively? Is your proverbial glass half full or half empty? The picture hasn't changed. Your perception of it has changed. What makes us happy? Sonia Lubrinsky has been able to show that about half of our well-being is genetic, but the other half is much more interesting because only about 10% of our happiness comes from things like how much money we have, how big is our house. All of these things are only 10% of your happiness. The other 40% is our internal state of mind. That's going back to perception. And happiness is a skill that can be cultivated. If we remember our example of Kelly and John, John can train himself through self-awareness, through various activities, such as we're going to do later today, to be more like Kelly. How? By focusing on strength instead of focusing on weakness. What are the building blocks of mental well-being based on what we call the PERMA model, which is an acronym, which was developed by Marty Seligman from UPenn. So P is for positive emotions. That's feeling good, that's being happy, that's being optimistic. E is for engagement. That's your sense of flow. That's being so into something. It feels so good. You're not self-conscious. Time just basically stops. A lot of people don't feel this, and then they don't get that meaning and purpose that really drives us. R is for relationships. Most of the research shows that it's our relationships, our deep, super meaningful, important relationships, but also micro connections. Say hi to the person standing in line next to you. It's going to make you feel good. Meaning and purpose. This is very important. For some people, it's spiritual. For some people, it's derived from family. For some people, it's derived from their work. And this is setting goals, but really realistic goals. Goals that you can accomplish, because it's not about just having big goals. It's about the dopamine boost that you get every time that you accomplish a goal, which reinforces itself, because when you feel good, when you get an accomplishment, you just want to accomplish more and more and more. We're going to manufacture some positive emotions, because studies show that the fastest and easiest way to feel good is to feel gratitude. And so gratitude, it's about taking a minute and realizing how good our life is. You're sitting in this room, you probably complained about something today. Take a minute to say thank you, to appreciate it. And the second piece is that it's external. It's not within ourselves. The universe gave it to you, your mom gave it to you, your coworkers. And so now we realize we all have so much to be grateful for. We're all super happy, lucky people. But is this selfish? Why are we so focused on our personal happiness? There is war. There is famine, there is disease, there is sea turtles being killed by straws. Your own personal happiness is super important for the communities in which you live. The other important part is that happiness spreads. When I have a really great day and I tell my husband, I just had a really great day and this happened and that happened, and I get him really happy, then he makes someone else super happy with his positive emotions. And so when you focus on your own happiness, it's very, very important. And I would actually say that if you are refusing to focus on your own happiness, that's kind of selfish, because then you're bringing all your negativity into the world and into your workplace and into your families. So research shows that happy people, better friends, better romantic partners, better parents, better coworkers. Happy people are more successful at work. And there is tons of research here to show that companies are actually doing better when they have happy employees. They're outperforming the stock market. They have higher revenue. Why is that? People like to talk a lot about work-life balance. This is one of my pet peeves, because I really don't like this idea. Because work-life balance implies that work is bad and life is good, because we spend 80% of our lives at work. And actually, we are designed as human beings, we were hunter-gatherers, we are designed to work. Our work should give us meaning and purpose and complete us. It's that engagement piece that we were talking about, the meaning piece, that's critical. And so when you're happy, you can bring that to work. And you're going to be successful at work because you're happy. Unfortunately, people are not that happy at work. 32% of people are engaged at work. That's pretty terrible. Job stress is costing the US economy over $300 billion annually in stress, because people are not showing up to work and they're taking sick days and they're, on Instagram instead of doing something that could be really meaningful and productive and important. You can definitely find your purpose and meaning in the role that you currently have. Are you ready to light up your life? The permission letter is another positive psychology exercise. I'd like for you to first answer the questions about purpose. What do you love to do? What moves you? What do you want your legacy to be? What is the best use of your life, of your time? What do you want to make time for that maybe you're ignoring? And how does creativity fit into your life? And who or what inspires you? And then really tell yourself, you're totally worth it. This is your life. You have one shot. Do what you really want to do. Do what is meaningful to you. Give yourself that permission. Do you remember feeling that way when you're young and full of hope? Purpose is that way because purpose is forward-looking. And one of my favorite positive psychology quotes is that positive psychology is not a spectator sport. It's one thing to know and recognize your purpose, but you do actually have to act on it. It could be that you thought that maybe you need to leave something, but actually, maybe you need to reframe your mind. Maybe at work, you need to ask for an extra project that's going to give you that super meaningful, purposeful experience, because maybe you're not being seen. So there's ways to reframe it. There's a common misconception that creativity is only for creative types. So you have to be a musician or an artist. And that's really not true. It's about how can you look at the world in different ways and really think very broadly. That's how you can look at it from different angles, find different strategies, collaborate better with people on your team to find those creative solutions. Thank you everyone for coming to the LightUp Lab presentation. I hope that you enjoyed it and got some really great takeaways, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you.